The two Sussex Police constables who pepper-sprayed, hit with a baton and tasered 93-year-old one-legged dementia sufferer Donald Burgess in his room at Park Beck Care Home in St Leonards-on-Sea, East Sussex, before handcuffing him and taking him in, could now be facing manslaughter charges after Mr Burgess died in hospital after the incident. Now, the two plod who carried out this attack, and it was an attack, on the elderly man actually took him to the police station first, where somebody else deemed that his condition required hospital attention, at which point he was then taken to the hospital, where he remained for 3 weeks before he died. It said that the police were called to the care home in June last year following a report of the man threatening staff with a knife. Upon arrival, police found Donald sat in his wheelchair in his room holding a knife. After what was called a brief engagement between the police and Mr Burgess, one of the constables pepper-sprayed him and then hit him with a baton. When he failed to drop the knife, the second constable tasered him. Now, I can imagine, obviously, they must have been absolutely terrified of a one-legged, wheelchair-bound old man who was doing absolutely nothing illegal other than allegedly threatening staff with a knife. Which, had they had any fucking brains at all, they would have just let him tire himself out and forget why he had the knife in the first place. Following the incident, Sussex Police had no choice but to refer themselves to the IOPC, who, no doubt seething at the media attention, had no choice but to investigate under the close watch of the public, and investigated the two plod for gross misconduct and for manslaughter. Well, it's now been revealed that both constables could be facing charges for the death of Donald Burgess following a statement from the IOPC. In their statement, they say, "We concluded our investigation into this incident in December 2022. However, we had to await the full report from the pathologist, which was required before we could make a decision on whether the matter should be referred to the Crown Prosecution Service. After receiving this report in May, we subsequently referred a file of evidence to the CPS, who will now consider whether any officers should be charged, and if so, what the appropriate charges are. The parties involved have been advised of this update." Shirley Fitch, Donald's cousin, said, "We just can't believe it. Why on earth would you taser a dementia sufferer sitting in a wheelchair? He couldn't have done any harm to anyone. He was just a poorly confused old man suffering from dementia. Why on earth would police have to use a taser on him, let alone a baton and pepper spray? Apparently he was in his own room, so he couldn't have hurt anyone anyway, and must have been very, very confused. Not as confused as the two fucking idiots who were sent to deal with him, clearly." Since the incident, the two constables were put on restricted duties, and it's believed that they are still not suspended for their actions, although it's said their suspension is being kept under review. Shirley Fitch's husband, David, said, "I can't believe they're still on duty. That's incredible. Why haven't they been suspended?" Reports suggest that the family is furious that they were not informed of the incident or of his subsequent death, saying they only found out from watching the news on TV. "We were sat there watching, thinking how terrible it was, and then we heard his name. My husband turned to me and said, 'Isn't that your Donald?' I was just horrified and shocked," said Shirley Fitch. Wow. What a way to find out. I mean, surely police should have spoke to the care home about the man's relatives at some point after the incident and before his death. The IOPC obviously finished their investigation with a decision from the CPS to be made at a later date. Personally, I can't see any other choice other than manslaughter. Now, based on the guidelines for the offence, it would appear that this would fall under involuntary manslaughter, where the offender did not intend to kill or cause really serious harm, but where death results from an unlawful act or from gross negligence. Although personally I'd suggest that the pair of constables who attended actually did intend to cause serious harm to Donald. Otherwise, why would they use every tool in their arsenal to incapacitate a man who could not have been a serious threat to anyone? But this is the police after all, and they generally get away with most crimes, or at least get dealt with far more softly than the general member of the public. However, the Sentencing Council guidelines suggest that the custody range for manslaughter is between 1 and 24 years, depending on multiple factors. And I'm not going to go into explaining each one in this video, but I will link to the Crown Prosecution Service guidance and the Sentencing Council guidelines below in the description so that you can read it for yourself. I will, of course, be watching this one carefully, and any further updates I will bring to you.